your place on fire.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halzie Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello. Welcome. You are listening to the Narrative Podcast, home of original people, reciprocity, positivity, and positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. I'm your host, Halzie Allen. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome anybody that may not be familiar with my platform and not familiar with my content. Welcome to you. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. So, all my narrators, they already know the demonstration. My narrators are my regular listening audience. So I'm going to just give you all new listeners, anybody newly tuning in right now, a brief overview of, my platform, my content, and, what I'm attempting to do here in this digital space, what my, content is all about, and my goals for this platform. So let's dive in, start at the top, the narrative. I named the title of my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, because I believe the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. I'll come to the original part in just a second, or after I'm done with this. First and foremost, they twist the narrative to push agendas about our people, to promote, generate, and incentivize propaganda about us. And they mainly do it to sell news, but then they also do it to, intentionally portray us in a negative light to cement or maintain their socioeconomic stronghold over us by making us, painting us out to be something that we're not. So this is like intentionally giving negative frames of reference to, people outside of our culture to, portray us and make us look like something that we're not, so that they perceive us a certain way, act towards us a certain way, and treat us a certain way based on the frames of reference that they're giving. So on my platform, what I wanted to do is combat that, basically flip the narrative and stop the misrepresentation of my people by providing positive frames of reference about us. So it's not like I care or our people care about, how people outside of our culture perceive us. It's just like, if you're going to tell our story correctly. And so that's basically what my platform is about. Telling our story correctly, portraying us in a positive light. I'm sharing stories about, leadership, entrepreneurship, basically just the antithesis of the way we're portrayed in the media. That's what you will find here on the Narrative Podcast. All positivity, no slander, no gossip. I only try to, my main goal is to uplift and edify my people by providing the positive frames of reference about us. And the ultimate takeaway I want my listening audience to get from my content is the importance of, utilizing your social media platforms, your digital platforms to, change the narrative on there as well by just realizing how important it is to post positive content about our people and our culture. So that's the ultimate takeaway I want my listening audience to understand is like, why it's so important to share positive content on all your platforms. So like basically, the whatever you're using online, whatever platform that you prefer to use, that's a direct representation of you. So, these days, whatever you post online is your carbon footprint. This is what people associate your ideals and beliefs and your value system with. They judge you based on the content that you post. This is like, if you're posting something funny, people think you might like to joke around, you might like stand-up comedy. If you're posting sports, people might think, you're a sports fanatic and whatever, you know what I mean? So just imagine us as a people if we're always posting gang culture, drug culture, crime culture, thought culture, pimp culture, whore culture, drug culture. If we're always like posting all these negative stereotypes about us, people outside of our culture, that's what they'll perceive us as. That's what they're going to think that all of us are about, based upon the content about us that's posted online. Now, as a matter of fact, that's exactly how these, Fortune 500 companies and these ads and these networks create content and create content is just based on the algorithm online. They're looking at what you're clicking on. They're looking at what you're posting. So they create content based around that, based around their data and their statistics about, what they think we like and what they think we're about. So this explains, the deviation. This explains like these horrible television shows that depict us in a negative light, these horrible ads, sales ads that depict us in a negative light, these horrible, reality shows and movies that depict us in a negative light, because they're gathering their data from, what we're posting online. That's why all this negativity is popping up in the music, in the advertisements, in, literature. They're just like collecting data. They're, from the outside looking in, and this is like, oh, this is the correct representation of these people. They act like this. They like this. They like living in these conditions. They act like this towards one another. They speak, a certain way towards one another. They don't like, whatever, just creating assumptions and generalizations about us and our people and our culture, excuse me. So, that's my purpose here on this digital platform, is just to basically, give the true accounts of, our people and our culture. So we are a prideful people and we have a very rich culture. And I want to convey that on this platform. So that's what the Narrative Podcast is about in a nutshell. Now, getting to the original part. I know you heard me say original a lot on my platform. What I try to do, or what I've done, is I'm trying to, replace the word black with original. Reason being, because I believe in the power of words, and the word black, the way we used it in early civilization, meant something positive, meant something regal, meant something powerful, meant something impactful. But these people that designed the English language, they defiled it, they dirtied it up, and they made it mean something bad, something negative. When you go into any dictionary or thesaurus and you look up the word black and you look how they used it, they use it in a negative way. As a matter of fact, like right when you open it up, it's the only color in the dictionary, in the English dictionary, that denotes origin. They usually say, Aboriginal or original people descending from Africa. So they're letting you know, how to use the word black. And then the robbery starts. And then it starts saying giving example sentences and ways in which to use the word black. Like it'll say black, dirty, desolate, depressed, gloomy, all these negative descriptors using the word black. And then they'll start in with the example sentence. It was a black day, the blackest night. And just basically, how they have it set up in the English dictionary, black really means like the end of all things, and sickness and, death is what is associated with the color black. And if you look at our people, especially here in America and abroad, like the overall, condition of our people, it's not a good thing. While we are making strides and we are doing positive things and we contribute so much to the world, it's, the overall how we're living as a people, it's not good at all. But then you go into that same dictionary and look up the word original, and there's no negative connotation surrounding the word original. Original really just symbolizes, the beginning, and in many cases, the best. You want the original copy. And I think that perfectly, describes our people, because we were and are the original man and woman of this planet. Like we was here first. We was here 5,000 years before any other civilization ever existed, ever. We didn't crawl out of no primordial ooze. We didn't evolve from chimpanzees, monkeys, gorillas, baboons, orangutans. No primordial creature that we evolved from. We was already here, living on this planet, fully sentient, standing erect, building things, teaching, each other, networking with one another, having tools like building whole, constructs, just out here prospering. We wasn't dwelling in no caves. We didn't have no cranial overbites. We didn't speak primitive language. We was fully sentient, civilized, and advanced. And then more to the point, we were and are the original teachers, the original scholars, the original alchemists, the original philosophers, the original builders, the original architects. We pretty much originated every single modern thing you can think of. It started with us. So that's why I try to, refer to my people as original as often as possible on this platform. So that's where the original part comes in. So sorry, I didn't mean to get too long-winded on that. Another goal for my podcast is to keep everything brief and to the point. This is a live broadcast, and what I tend to do here on my lives is I share positive frames of reference about our people, just like positive articles that I come across, and then deliver commentary, anything about anything, trending, breaking news, because like I said, the media have us looking and sounding crazy. So that's what I'm going to do this evening. I'm going to share some articles, some positive frames of reference about our people. Then I'm going to, walk you through, give you some commentary, and then walk you through my content on a full broadcast day, and then end this broadcast and let you enjoy the rest of your evening. So, without any further ado, let's get it. Let's dive right into the content. So, for my first article, the headline reads, Judge gives teen second chance, and now 12 years later she's becoming a lawyer. This happened in the Jersey Superior Court, and the judge that gave this teen a second chance is Charles Dortch, and the teen in question is one Mrs. Carmen Allen Day. She was just Carmen Allen when the charges that she was facing, when she was about to be sentenced. She was not married. She was just a teenager. Her maiden name is Carmen Allen, but she's recently gotten married. So now her married name is Day, Carmen Allen Day. So basically, she was remorseful about what she had done. She said she regretted making decisions that she made in life. And the judge saw, how truthful she was, and he reciprocated by reducing her sentence. He saw something special in her. He saw something, worth saving, because he can, observed her and heard the conviction in her voice, saw that she was sincere, and he gave her a second chance. And it paid off. She's now 29. She's married, has 2 daughters, 1 semester away from passing the bar. She's already graduated in 2015 from college with a major in political science and criminal justice. So before she got sentenced, or right during, after her, legal debacle, it was 2007 when she graduated high school. And so now she's an inspiration. Her story is an inspiration to all. Going down that bad path, it's never too late to make a change in your life. If you need to make a change, she's a living example of that. She was headed down a real dark path. Could have been, a snowball, because that's usually what happens to people in this justice system, this so-called justice system here in America, for our people. It starts, with one little minor scrape, and then, you do some time, and then you get out unreformed. Now you done learn some new tricks, try it again, and, it just keeps going and going and going until, you go to jail for life, or you end up, taking somebody's life, or somebody takes your life. So that's often the case with our people, but this young lady, made strides. She really wanted change, and she got change. So That's why I shared that positive frame of reference, just to put that out in the atmosphere that it's never too late. If you want to make a change in your life, if you're going through whatever you're going through, like it's possible to overcome and achieve. So give a warm narrative podcast a round of applause for Mrs. Carmen Allen Day. All right, next article. This is really inspirational. The headline reads, 100-year-old woman runs 100-meter race in Vancouver, Canada. And the sister's name is one Mrs. Ida Keeling. She set a new world record in the 100-meter dash for runners in her age bracket. She also holds a world record for the fastest time in the 60-meter dash for people in her age bracket. And then basically she had started running period to cope with the death of her two sons. So that was her motivation. She just wanted to, find a new reason to live again, and that's how she coped with her pain. And another inspirational story, that it's not too late. 100 years old, so no excuses. So you're never too old to start taking care of yourself. But don't try to wait till you're 100 to start taking care of yourself. Start taking care of yourself now. With all the stuff they're putting in the food, putting in the air, putting in the water, you better start taking care of yourself, taking some time to take care of you, and just, create a regimen of self-care, exercise, diet, and try to, keep yourself in peak physical, because there's all kinds of factors that help you check out early these days that we're living in. Just, just be aware of that. So give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Miss Ida Keeling. All right. Oh, wow, I took my notes super goofy. All right. Lost my page. Next article, headline reads, 24-year-old becomes first ever black female firefighter in her city. And the sister's name is Deja Woods. Deja's from Delano, Florida, and her fire precinct was founded in 1876, and they haven't had one female firefighter since 1876. She's the first, so there's been no females before her. So that's definitely noteworthy, something to share, especially this month, International Women's Day, or month, excuse me. Give it up for Sister Deja Woods. Now this next one is a super honor and a privilege. I was so glad I came across this article. It was just like a little ray of sunshine. So next article, Headline reads, 14-year-old from Chicago earns master's degree. And the sister's name is Dorothy Jean Tillman, affectionately known by her peers as DJ. At 14 years old, she earned a master's in environmental and sustainable science from Unity College in Maine. In high school, she earned an associate degree in psychology at College Lake County in Grayslake, Illinois. At age 11, earned bachelor's degree in humanities from Excelsior College in Albany, New York. So she is super accomplished, and she's not even 20 yet. She's not even 18 yet. All these accomplishments. So just recently, it's just now 22 or 20. Fast forward. She earned some degrees during the pandemic, during the lockdown. A master's degree, and she's right now studying engineering. Wants to be an entrepreneur in the field, and has written a book called Unlock the Genius Within. And genius is spelled with a J, not a G. So you're going to have to, read the book to find out why she spelled it that way. But it's pure, with all her accomplishments, it's most definitely probably pure genius when you purchase the book. So, she got a very extensive resume. Give it up for young sister DJ. I go DJ, that my DJ. All right, let me see. Do I got any more? I think this is my last one. Okay, yeah. This is the last article for this evening that I'll be sharing. Meet the Siblings. Our headline reads, for the article, meet the siblings who are teaching other kids how to speak up to 8 different languages. And the sibling's name is 4-year-old Emilio, 6-year-old Amora, 8-year-old Rosie, 10-year-old Lala, 18-year-old Malachi, and 20-year-old Kimoni. And these siblings are based out of Cleveland, Ohio. They have a YouTube channel called Stars Academy, and it's multilingual. They teaching, all different languages, like update them for language, so Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese, I think they got Dutch. So they got some languages, man. You gotta go check out their channel. I did not check their channel out, but I'm making assumptions about what languages they're teaching, but that's usually like the top ones. So I'm gonna definitely check it out. I might learn something. It's never too late to learn. They've also written 7 bilingual books. So give it up for all those people. I'm not going to read all their names, but give it up for them. I do it like this. Give it up for the Multilingual Stars Academy. All right. So, like I said, I had to take a little brief break. Um, Last week, I was working on some stuff. And like I said, true to my words, I'm always true to my words. I'm back here this evening with the live. Didn't like the first, last week was first week that I didn't make it to do a live since I've been doing lives. But here I am, live on a Thursday evening. All my narrators. Oh yeah, I did forget to share my tagline with you all. So my tagline is the Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. So I just want to share my tagline with you all. But yeah, that's it for the articles. So a few weeks ago, I found out, it was more time efficient to switch my live format around when I was doing in February when I was doing my Black History Month Black Facts. So my lives used to go, before then, I would read the articles, then walk you through my format for a normal broadcast day, and then deliver some, commentary in the media and commentate on, current events in the media. But I'm gonna switch it up because, like I said, I try to make my platform more time efficient. So I found, it's more time efficient to do it the other way. So I'm gonna do, commentary, and then I'm gonna give you a walkthrough of my format for my normal broadcast day. So it's gonna be super short tonight. It's gonna be super short tonight. There's not too much going on in the media, because like I said, on my platform, I don't really engage, gossip. I don't promote it. I don't try to engage it. I address, current events as my people are concerned, original people are concerned, things about us, because the way they unveil it in the media, they'll try to have us looking and sounding crazy. So that's the reason why I deliver commentary, just basically unpack, current events from our perspective, and, taking control of the narrative, not letting the media just flip it and run with it and just, try to skew and warp things. I don't drag people through the mud, but I do keep it real. Like, if somebody's doing something, one of us is doing something in the eye of the media, like doing something to make all of us look bad, I will say something about that. But other than that, I don't condone gossip. I don't engage in it and try not to promote it. But I'm a podcaster, so current breaking news, I gotta talk about it. So got a couple current things trending all over the blogosphere and out here in social media land. Some things concerning my people, and we want to talk about it. So let's go. Elephant in the room, number one. So the Angela Bassett Oscar snub. So Jamie Lee Curtis was up for an award, and everybody's up in arms because Angela Bassett didn't clap for Jamie Lee Curtis. And everybody is like, that was rude, incredibly rude, and, just like, she shaded Jamie Lee Curtis, and like, it really just must be a slow news week. Like, it really must just be nothing going on. Like, first of all, how do you know what was going through her head when she didn't get up and clap? This lady, like, she's been an entertainer for over 20 plus years, acting in all kinds of movies, all kinds of roles. You don't know what kind of day she had, what type of evening she had. Like, first and foremost, as original people, our people, my people, as original people, we're this little thing called authentic. Like, by nature, we don't fake things. So this is why when most of us get in Hollywood, we have meltdowns, because that's a plastic generated, industry. That's an industry where you can't be authentic. This is an industry where you fake smiles and you fake daps and you fake hugs. And us original people, we're, most of us, by nature, even if we do fake it by nature, it keeps us up at night when we have to in that industry. We authentic. We wear our emotions on our sleeves. We real. Like, that's, white people do that. They be like, oh, yay, they clap, and then soon as another person walks out the room, like, oh, I hate that guy, I hate that girl. That's them. That's by nature, that's them. Like, we don't do all that. If we ain't rocking with something, you gonna know it off the rip if we don't like something. But there's no real proof supporting that she actually snubbed her. Like, just because you didn't get up and applaud doesn't mean you hate the lady. It just might mean you didn't feel like getting up and clapping. Like, what the problem is? Because you ain't clapping at an award show. Like, you don't, like, where's the rule book that says you have to clap for every single participant? Like, you gotta get up and clap. Like, ain't nobody gonna see you. You're sick, or shouldn't nobody see you. But some odd reason, because she didn't feel like getting up and clapping when Jamie Lee Curtis won an award, they focus on her. Like, there's like tons of people not clapping, but they focus the lens specifically on her to get her reaction. Like, oh, she's salty that she didn't win. And when in reality, she probably don't care because she didn't expect to win anyway, because that's not our award show. That's their award show. You see what I'm saying? We don't base our lives based on y'all's opinion of us. Like, we already know the Oscars ain't for us, and especially after what happened at last year's Oscars, which, like, now I'm believing, I'm in the percentile now that believe that last year was staged. Why would they stage it? So, to paint us in a negative light. That was them, the Academy, saying here, they always talking about inclusion. They always talking about include us, include us, include us. So we're going to give them we're going to let them dominate this little show, but then we're going to show you just why we don't go out of our way to include them. Like, look what happened. Like, look at them. They don't know how to act. That's the narrative that they wanted to show last year. And that's just me. I personally believe that Will Smith is an actor, Chris Rock is an actor. It financially benefits both of them. Because everybody wants to know Chris Rock's feelings. He just had a comedy special. He addressed some stuff. Like, the thing about Hollywood is this little thing called gatekeeping. And the gatekeepers control Hollywood. They say which one advances and which one goes back. You know, it was Chris Rock's turn to advance, and it was Will Smith's turn to get pushed back. Like Will Smith was winning. Like even after the Alcina thing, like he was dominating social media. Like right when you thought he was down out for the count with the Alcina, like no, he was still like breaking Instagram, doing stuff like little jumping out the planes and like people like he was not missing at all. He laughed it off eventually, like, you know, showed them all snuggled up and all booed up after the entanglement thing. Like, but then that incident happened. And like I said, like all three of them are actors in the craft of acting. Jada is an actress, Will Smith is an actor, Chris Rock is an actor. Sorry, that's my personal belief. I believe it was an act. Sorry, I believe it was an act. I believe it was choreographed. I'm not buying it. Sorry. I don't got too much to support my assertions, but other than the fact, like, it's Hollywood, and that's their job to make you, to tug at your emotions and make you feel things and, you know, play with your olfactics, make you believe you saw something you didn't actually see. You know, that's Hollywood for you. But back to Mrs. Bassett. Yeah, the lady's damn near 70 years old. Like she looks amazing, keeps herself in shape, obviously, you know, dieting correctly, exercising, keeping herself up, just glowing and just shining like the sun. But on the inside, she's 64 years old. She don't want to get up and clap. That's her business if she don't want to. Like, why is that an issue that she didn't get up and clap for somebody? Like, why are they even making it like, you know, she's salty or she's being vindictive or being like ornery or mean? Like, I went to the Dumb Award show. I got in this stupid dress. And you know what? I don't feel like clapping. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong? Like, what's wrong in the world? Like, what type of world we in where we can't tell the truth? That we want to just clean the lies and false images. The lady didn't feel like clapping. So what? Why is that a big deal? Like she got something personal against, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis or something. She didn't feel like clapping. She didn't clap. Get over it. People trying to sit up here and play, you know, psychiatrists, like trying to see what was her mental state and why she didn't do it, and they want to like dig deep into her psyche. She didn't do it because she didn't damn want to. It's not always a big like conspiracy thing. She just didn't feel like clapping. Like, why is people always just this social media is something else. People are just like really on, I done watched like 10 YouTube feeds. People trying to connect the dots where there's no dots to connect. Like, the lady just didn't feel like damn clapping. Like, dang, you don't got to clap if you don't want to. There's no like law that says you have to clap for people. Like, damn, golly. But I'm gonna end it there. That's just my assessment of the situation. She just didn't feel like clapping. No big deal, you know. So what? It's the Oscars. The Oscars ain't our awards anyway. They go out of their way to show us every single year that it's not for us. You know, no matter how incredibly talented an original people ensemble cast is comprised of, they're not going to win unless, you know, the Academy says they can win or it says they can get nominated, because it's not our award show anyway. So, like, who cares? Now, let's address the other elephant in the room. So unless you've been living under a rock, like pioneer, trailblazing pioneer in hip hop, Mel gave his little 2 cents about, you know, Eminem's top 5 status. And basically he says he's in the top 5 because he's Caucasian and, like, he didn't say Caucasian, he said white. I always say Caucasian because, like, I don't know, I just do. I don't know, just like white kind of sounds derogatory. I try not to, like, be derogatory towards people even though they don't care about being derogatory towards us. But yeah, he basically said Eminem only got his top 5 status because he's white. That was his assessment. And, you know, the internet went berserk. But, you know what tripped me out though? What really left me absolutely floored? This is crazy. This is so crazy, right? Like, this is the crazy part. For the first time ever, for the first time ever that Eminem's been on top, ever, all through his career, all since he's had a fan base, this is the first time ever this has happened. His fan base is called stans. So for, like, people that are not up on hip hop or just don't like rap, he had a song called Stan. And Stan is basically like this delusional dude that obsesses with him and follows him and, you know, really trying to make friends with him. And he writes him this letter, and basically at the end of the song he kills himself. And, like, that's his fan base, like delusional people that will really mess you up over some Eminem, that will, like, do some Unabomber type stuff if you know, mention his name in a negative way, or in a way that they feel or deem negative towards, you know, Eminem. And he's not the only artist that got crazy fans like that. Beyonce, she got the Beehive. They are some, like, a bag of mixed nuts. Let me stop, because, you know, like, mental health is nothing to joke about. Like, but these entertainers, their fan bases, they be like they got some real super duper deep seated mental health issues. Who's another one? Nicki Minaj, she got 2 sets of fans that's not all the way up there. The elevators don't go all the way to the top. She got the Barbs and the Trinities. So, but anyway, Eminem's fan base, they're really like unique, like really, really kind of scary. I think he's even afraid of his fans. Like he probably be ducking the stands. But okay, the funny part of it is like for the first time in history, after Melly Mel said what he said, the first time in history, all since Eminem been on top of this pile for hip hop, they ain't said nothing. They actually been in agreement with the statement. And the crazy part, all the backlash, you know where all the backlash is coming from? All the people like condemning Melly Mel? Our people. The original people. Niggas is offended because Melly Mel said what he said. Not the stands. The stands ain't no type of offended by that statement. They ain't no type of offended by that statement. It's our people that's like big super mad that he said that. And here's the thing with me, like I'm not big on generalization, so in the context in which he said it's a generalization, he's saying that's the deciding factor of his success. The way in which, if you watch the interview, the way in which he conveyed it is like that's the absolute deciding factor. And that's where I kind of take an issue with it. That's not the like end all be all, deciding factor. But I agree with him in the context that it is a factor. And for anybody, an original man, or just a man or woman, period, they got half a good, like, got a brain, can't say that's not a factor. Like, if that wasn't a factor, do you think MTV would have put all the millions that they had in a budget to produce 8 Mile? Do you really think if him being Caucasian wasn't a factor, that they would have invested some money in him? A virtual unknown in hip hop, he was unknown at the time. He just, he was cause another, marketing person they did was Vanilla Ice. They gave him a movie, Cool as Ice, and it flopped. So, it's not just enough to just have, some buzz around your name. You have to actually be good. So now you got this Caucasian dude that's like actually good, and they gave him some buzz. But like, let's go even deeper. Do you think the Beastie Boys would be as big as they were if they weren't Caucasian? Do you think Third Base would be as big as they were if they weren't Caucasian? And that was kind of his underlying point, but again, like the way he delivered it made it seem like that's the deciding factor of his success, of Eminem's success. But nevertheless, it is a factor. Like, to say it's not a factor, that's folly. That's nonsensical to say that's not a factor, that doesn't play something into it. Because like, let's be genuine, let's be for real. Like, people want to go see people that look like them. They want to be around people that look like them. There's Caucasian people that don't understand hip hop. They might have a couple like black friends, original people friends, but they'll never be in that world and connect with them like that, connect with the artists like that, or get into the spirit, get into, like, what I'm saying, get interwoven into the culture through their black friends. It's not going to happen. What they want is somebody that looks like them, they can feel comfortable listening to. So stop me when I'm lying. Like stop, like let's just stop being disingenuous and like acting like that's not a factor at all. Like that doesn't play a factor at all in it. Cause like Melly Mel been around since the inception of hip hop. He been on both sides of it. He's a pioneer, trailblazer. He was one of the first groups that actually internationally toured. He made it like cool to tour internationally. So thank you, Melly Mel, for making it cool to get international dollars. So for him to make that assessment, a guy that been on both sides of it, on the business side and as an artist, to say, a big factor to his success is that he's Caucasian. That he's white. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Again, because like when MTV first started, right, like the original people, the original VJs, they wouldn't play black music. They would not play Michael Jackson. They wouldn't play Michael Jackson on MTV when it first started. I think it was like David Bowie and a whole bunch of other people had to they got really angry and made MTV start playing black music. Like they didn't want to play Michael Jackson, they didn't want to play, who else had big hits in the early 80s? They didn't want to play no Patti LaBelle, they didn't want to play no Smokey, they didn't want to play no, you know what I'm saying? Just because they was black. But now fast forward with hip hop, when that genre got started, it's all inclusive from day one. They welcome anybody. Asian, black, white, whatever, anybody that loves the culture is there for it. And so why we appreciate, because without Eminem, we wouldn't have 50 Cent and everything he's doing for the culture. So nobody's taking away from it. Nobody's saying, he doesn't love the culture and he didn't earn his spot. Nobody's saying he's lyrically deficient, because there's like dudes in hip hop that suck now, but like selling like big streams, but they suck. And they don't have no love or respect or knowledge of the culture. But Eminem, he's a Caucasian, he's been studying, he's a student of the culture. Is respected among, other pioneers and trailblazers. And they respect his contributions and his skill set. And, from their accounts, they say he really loves the culture and he can really get busy. But in that same breath, I bet you they also say, and a whole lot of that is because he's Caucasian. Like, let's just talk about it. Like, let's not act like that's not a factor. Let's just not act like that's not a factor. Like, okay, like Third Base, we would have no Nas if it wasn't for MC Search. But when they was during their run, cause like they double dipped, they Caucasian and, members of the small hat community. So you trying to tell me their connections with the small hat community wasn't a factor into their success when they had their run? For real? MC Search and Prime Minister Pete, like that wasn't a factor? It wasn't a factor? They didn't benefit from that in any kind of way? Alright. Another just a entity within the community. Like, we wouldn't have an LL Cool J if it wasn't for Rick Rubin. And he even put that in the song. I'm paid because Rick said so. So it ain't about hating white people It ain't about, dogging him out because he's white. The statement was just basically saying him being white is a factor to his success. And anybody that says that's not a factor, it might not be the deciding factor, but it is a factor. Like, trust me. Do you think Interscope would have put their bread up for an unknown, hip-hop unknown, if he wasn't white? You think they would have just really just put all the marbles on Eminem if he was black? And that's what Melly Mel was saying. Like, I think it kind of got overshadowed by his passion, and he's allowed to be passionate because he been living, breathing, sweating, eating, sleeping hip hop since, the 70s. And the thing about an opinion, there's an informed expert opinion, and then there's, just people talking out their backside. He's an informed expert opinion, like, as far as opinions go. Because he's been on both sides of it. He's been the artist and he's been on the business side of it. So he knows what them execs and them people to cut the checks, what they see. He been in the rooms. You know what I mean? He been overseas and been in all them circles. Like, I just don't know why that's so sensitive to not acknowledge this in the times we're living in. Like, not acknowledge him being Caucasian is a big factor to his success. If he was, if he was a brother, would he be as big as he is? Like, if him was a brother, would he be as big as he is? Because there's millions of brothers that can rhyme. They can just like go off the top and just got a limitless vocabulary and can make all work, like, you know what I'm saying? And lyrically proficient and just, have the cadences and have the speed, the rapid delivery, and can just like literally just rhyme all day. Like, we see YouTube videos of it. They can rap their behinds off, but they can't get no traction on the album. They can't get no marketing dollars behind them. Why is that? They got all the talent in the world, they can't get no marketing dollars behind them. They got the look, they got the swag, but they can't get no marketing dollars behind them. I'm just saying, like, to say him being Caucasian is not a factor to his success, that's just a lie, man. We need to stop telling lies. We should be comfortable with this thing comfortable enough with this thing called hip hop, and just have the real conversations and keep it real and genuine and authentic. That's what it was, based and founded off of. Like, why is we all like wrapped up in this politically correctness? Like, that was like what made hip hop, just raw, uncensored, uncut, and like, if you mess with it, you mess with it. If you don't, you don't. That's been the allure of hip hop since the beginning, but now it's being diluted. Like, people walking on eggshells, can't say this, can't say that, can't say this, can't do this, can't do that. You offend this group, you offend that group if you say this. Like, but to piggyback off of that, we're living in the era where it's not cool to tell the truth. We sit up there, this is the era of the wave rider. If it sounds good, if the group likes it, I'ma rock with it. I'm going to go with the vibes. Whatever the vibes is in the room, I'm going to go with it. Even if I don't really authentically like it, I'm going to say I'm going to like it so I can be included, with the vibes. I'm going to go with the vibes because I want to be accepted. We all so just desperate to be accepted. We're not being genuine and authentic. We're losing ourselves to, public opinion and what other people thinks. And, we want to go with the masses. We don't want to be the oddball. We don't want to get roasted. We don't want to have people coming for us. So we'll just play it safe and just tell a lie, acting like we like something we don't. It's crazy though, but that was basically my big point is, that wasn't necessarily a lie when he said that was actually factually facts. The opinion part was him saying that's the only reason. That's not the only reason, but it is a factor. And that's a fact. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that's not a factor. Stop it. But more to the point, digging deeper is this list stuff, that's not within our culture. Our people, black people, original people, we don't do lists. We don't list things. This came from white people. The list, that came from white people. Like the top 5, only they do that. Like Vanity Fair, where it came from is GQ Quarterly, Men's Magazines, Vanity Fair, best dressed, worst list, home improvement list. That's where the concept of the list came. The concept of the list came from white people. We don't care about lists. What do we need a list for? I don't need a list to tell me I'm dope. And that's just the mentality of our people. We don't have a use for lists. We've never had a use for lists. We don't care who is the best or who says somebody's the best and somebody's the worst. And, that came from them. Like Hollywood in the, what was that little magazine called? Little trash magazine. Inquiring Minds or the Inquirer, stuff, like magazines like this, like that. Best dressed, worst dressed. We don't care about that type of stuff. That's not within our culture. That's not in our DNA to care about a list, bruh. That's white people making lists. They're the ones that write history. We never recorded accounts like that. The way we passed along knowledge was from the elders, the ancestors, to the elders, to the youth. We passed along the knowledge like that. We didn't write stuff down and record it. That's them. White people do that. We don't do that. And that's just the actual factual fact. I ain't trying to hurt people's feelings. I'm just telling the truth. Just like Melly was telling the truth. That's it's not the deciding factor, but it is a factor. And if you say it's not a factor, you're not being genuine and authentic with yourself. You're lying to yourself. You think you're going to hurt Eminem's feelings? Eminem himself has said it. If you pay attention to his interviews, him talking for himself, he's pretty much said it throughout his entire career, if you pay attention. But people are so busy kissing his backside, hoping he's going to bless them with a feature or, let me stand next to him to get some shine. All these butt kissers who he don't respect. He respects authentic, real people. He knows it in his heart of hearts that that's a factor. But he worked his tail off to get where he's at. He paid his dues, you know what I'm saying? But you can't deny that that's not a factor. It's a factor. Sorry everybody that's offended. It is a factor to his success. Sorry. I don't know what to say. I didn't make the rules. That's just how it goes. But, the positive that it went like that, he put D12 on. Launched 50 Cent to mega superstardom. We got to experience the slaughterhouse. So we made it work in a positive way. That white privilege in a positive way, but like, it's a factor. Knock it off. It is a factor. Sorry. It's a factor. It may not be the deciding factor, but it is a factor. But enough of that. That's all the issues I want to address. That's all the current events. And like I said, for my podcast, I don't like getting super duper long-winded. I like to try to keep these brief and to the point, especially on the live. But that's it for my commentary this evening on the Narrator podcast. And now for my listeners to walk you through the full broadcast experience of the Narrator podcast. So I'm going to walk you through my format, and I know you're going to join me this weekend for this amazing content. And before I do that, I'm asking y'all out there in listening land to download this episode of the Narrator podcast and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative podcast. One small click for you, paying some bills for me. All right. So I'm going to walk you briefly through, the Narrative podcast experience. So when you join me this weekend, I got my content divided into sections. Each section has a speaking point. And the reason why I did that, because when I first started, I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I was trying to achieve with my platform. I basically used to just hit, record and start talking. And I noticed I was all over the place and just talking in circles and didn't really have, an idea of what I want to touch on. And then I just took a step back and assessed my content. And, I broke it up into sections and I kept everything super short, super sweet, brief and to the point. And my numbers started going up. More people started listening to me. So, that's another thing. I'm trying to make all my content relatable, digestible. I don't want my listeners to have to clear their entire schedule to, listen to me. So that's the reason why I broke it up into sections and I tried to make it as brief as possible. So now that you get the gist of it, I'm going to dive right into my sections. So when you join me this weekend, the first section of the Narrator podcast is the promo section. And with this section, what I'm doing is I'm giving original people that own or operate their own business or have their own establishment or got a big product or service that needs promoting to reach out to me to get some promotion. And my ideology behind that is I'm helping keeping the original dollar from the original man and woman circulating in the original community so we can grow and build. We got to support our own. We are due reparations, but until we get reparations, we must support our own. We must endorse our own. So that's what that section is dedicated to, endorsing our own. And, you can hit me up. You can just go to my previously recorded full episode of the Narrator podcast to get the instructions on how to get a hold of me to get some free promotion. And then on to the next section of the Narrator podcast is the contest section. I'm currently hosting a contest. It's basically for a listener incentive. I'm giving away a bulk supply of the listener's favorite snack simply by entering or participating with the content, the topic, and the topic is share your most recent shopping while black experience. And for doing that, I give you, the listener, a bulk supply of their favorite snack. And again, just listen to my last episode, full episode of the Narrator podcast, and you will find the instructions on how to enter the contest there. This is just a brief run through, keyword brief. So that's why I'm not, giving you the instructions on this. My next section is the actual start to the podcast, the meat of my podcast, if you will, is the highlight section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original people. I'm doing that to provide the listening audience with a positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, specifically in the way of entrepreneurship, because we don't get too many frames of reference about that. We don't get, reality television shows about, entrepreneurship, us doing for ourselves. So, I'm giving you, the reference on how to go about starting your own business, by sharing with you, examples of people that started their own business. There was just like you, working 9-to-5 jobs. They didn't have any of the answers. They didn't have the education. They didn't have the money, the startup money. They had little to no expertise in the field. They just, picked it up as they went. They was passionate about something and they stepped out on faith. And again, the reason why I'm doing that, because the media have us believing, that we can't do for self and it's impossible, to rise above our circumstances, to be totally independent. And, these people found a way to do it. And that's why I'm sharing that in that section. Also in the highlight section, all the people that I highlight in the highlight section, they give back to the community, perform community outreach. They either pay into a nonprofit organization or have their very own nonprofit organization. They donate their services to the community. They hire their own. Many of the businesses that I highlight are family owned and operated. So that's an example of generational wealth that I'm giving. And then also in that section, I'm giving you, their journey, like how the idea culminated, how they came up with the name, how they came up with the idea, the brand, the building steps, all the hurdles that they went through, from the beginning stages all the way up into, the entity that they are now. I'm giving you that in that section, just to, showcase the journey. Like, they didn't have all the answers, but they found a way to make it work. And that's what I'm sharing with you in that section. And then my last qualifying factor for that section is it aligns up with my theme. And this week's theme is going to be, spring. Because, the 17th or the 21st, by this Western calendar, is the beginning of spring. It's actually the beginning of the new year, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But it's going to be businesses, the first thing that you think of when you think of spring, or the first thing I think of when I think of spring. So the season of spring, those are the types of business I'll be highlighting this weekend. After the highlight section is my spotlight section. And in the spotlight section, what I'm doing is I'm spotlighting businesses or spotlighting prominent figures within our community that have impacted the culture, whether it's, through philanthropy, whether it's through social activism, or just being a visual, good frame of reference about our people, just the way they carry and conduct themselves. They give back. They use their platforms to speak on our issues unapologetically. And they are pretty much dynamic leaders to some capacity, doing for the community, pushing the cause forward. And, those are the factors that I look for in the spotlight section. The types of people that I spotlight are usually in the entertainment industry, but I have spotlighted religious figures as well, but basically in the entertainment industry. So like recording artists, actors, actresses, athletes, dancers, public figures, writers, producers, like basically anybody in the eye of the public. And what I'm trying to do, or what I am doing, is creating the way for, to say something nice about your brother and your sister online, because we are the only people that use our social media platforms to like destroy each other, with the name calling, with the back and forth, with the denigrating each other. And not for nothing, I created the way for spotlighting, because before I added the spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrator podcast, nobody online anywhere was spotlighting anyone. But again, like I did it for a reason, so I know I'm impacting, I'm making a change out here in these digital streets. So, now everybody got a spotlight section. They spotlighting this, they spotlighting that. Today, spotlight on this person, spotlight, and nobody was spotlighting nobody until I added the spotlight section. But again, the reason why I did that was for positive reinforcement, just to get us in the healthy habit of bigging each other up and saying nice things about each other, as opposed to hateful, slanderous things all the time. And then after the spotlight section, I go into the health and wellness section. The health and wellness section, I'm just talking about health and wellness, total body health, total body wellness. Talking about health and wellness, like to stay armored up basically, because they're putting, harmful things in our food, air, and water that is just particularly harmful to our people. They're attacking us, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And in that section, what I'm doing is telling us how to stay armored up. That's it, basically. So you might hear the health benefits of, if we're talking about things you ingest or eat, like the fruit, vegetable, herb, plant, or roots, things that keep you, virile, healthy, and strong by eating, doing exercises, physical exercises, mental exercises that keep your mind state, sharp, spiritual things you can do. I even talk about metaphysical stuff. So health and wellness just to basically stay armored up out here in these streets. Next section is the final thought of the day, or final word of the, or not final thought, but speaking point of the day. And the speaking point of the day is basically just me telling you, current news, addressing current news, current topics, like I just did. Basically commentary on, breaking news from our perspective, because the media have us looking and sounding crazy. And history hasn't taught us anything. It's taught us, whoever controls the media controls the narrative, and also, to tell your own story, or you have your story told for you. So that's what I do in the speaking point of the day, is just basically unpacking it, whatever the topic is, from our perspective. Tell our accounts, from our perspective. And on the rare occasion I don't have anything, no current events to talk about, I might just do a PSA about our culture, things we need to work on as a people. And by we, I mean me as well, because I am an original man. So, and then I cap things off with my final thought or final word of the day. Final thought or final word of the day is basically just, a gem, a pearl of wisdom, something that resonate and captivate your mind, something to just have you think think about something, deep thoughts, basically just saying something profound, a pearl of wisdom to leave you with for the rest of the day, so something to think about. And yeah, that's it. That's the Narrator Podcast in its entirety. And I know you're going to tune in this weekend for the Narrator Podcast. I'm so excited. Well, that's it, y'all. That's it and that's all. Thank you for tuning in to this live tonight. Join me this weekend with another edition of the Narrative Podcast. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm encouraging you, the listeners, to change the narrative one social media post at a time. So, in closing, I would like to ask all of you to download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast and support my other projects. My book titled The Black Card. Go to Poetizer.com and go to the bookstore and purchase that book. It's called The Black Card. And then my personal poetry blog is called hallziespoetrycorner. Go and support that. It's www.mrhallziesblogs.com. And you support it by sharing poems from Halsey's Poetry Corner on all